Welcome to another session on manhood. Manhood, we go through 3 stages. We live in an age and era at this point where we are struggling with manhood. There's so many boys stuck in men's bodies. But these 3 stages, which is dependence, independence, and interdependency, they represent the natural progression of growth and development, both emotionally, socially, and physically. So I will share with you, if we are to draw this and take this as the natural progression of manhood, we will start here with what we call the dependency phase. And in most cases, this is malehood. So if we have to use, we're going to go through the 3 hoods of being a man. And we're talking about malehood, boyhood, and manhood. Dependency. When you are born, you depend on others. This is a reliance phase. This is where a person depends on others for survival, support, and direction. Characteristics of this childhood stage, and for some people, can always extend into adulthood. Now remember, the key characteristic here is reliance. You depend on others for food. You depend on others for shelter. You depend on others for emotional care. You depend on others for decision making, because people in authority, your life is entirely dependent on them for you to survive. If you look at this age, most babies, when they want to eat, they want to eat now. It doesn't matter whether it's 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning. It doesn't matter whether you've been working from 6 to 6. If a baby wants to eat, they have to eat at that specific time. If the baby wants to poo, it doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter whose presence they're in, it doesn't matter what time. That's why we put them in a nappy, because they don't have time. If they feel like, they do it wherever it is that they are. Now, if you look at this is a very irresponsible age. One of the biggest characteristics here is irresponsibility. It's irresponsibility. But it's okay, because as a society, we understand that they're not going to be in that state for a very long time. We allow them to throw tantrums because they have a very limited vocabulary. They don't have enough words to express how they feel. So they will either throw a tantrum or they'll start giving you piercing screams in supermarkets when they want things. They will piss wherever it is, wherever you are, irrespective of who's in your presence. That irresponsibility, we don't frown at it. In fact, we laugh at it. But the side effect with this is, this will always come up with very limited responsibility. Someone else has to handle the consequences of your actions. When you cry in public, somebody else has to apologize for you. When the baby poos in a public place, the parent has to apologize. Whatever choices that you make, the responsibility is always shouldered by somebody else, and in most cases, it's your early caregiver. And on your part there, it means you lose autonomy. So here the side effects here is you lose lack of autonomy. You have no freedom. You have no freedom, because freedom is not free. You have to earn it. Decisions are made by others, because you have to focus on following other people's rules and guidance for you to survive. At this stage, you're emotionally very vulnerable. You need a lot of external validation. A baby cries because they want a parent's attention. A baby cries because they want somebody to lift them and rock them to sleep. A baby cries because they want to be comfortable. They've been lying in that cot in the same position they can't turn for so long. So they have to cry so that somebody can either pick them or turn them in a comfortable position. Baby cries because they want reassurance that whoever is there can still see them. This phase also is your learning phase. You're taking in new habits. You're starting to learn new things. You're taking in good or bad belief systems. You're starting to take in behaviors modeled by others, and especially your teachers, your parents, your spiritual teachers, and all those things. But also, like any other phase, any of a human phase, it comes with its set of challenges. And the biggest challenge of this phase is lack of power, lack of authority. You feel powerless. They tell you what time to eat. They tell you what time to sleep. They tell you what time to wake up. They tell you what time to brush your teeth. They tell you what time is for entertainment. They tell you what time to wake up, and all those things you are told. Constantly you have to live on somebody's timetable. And in most cases, instructions and the rules that we live by are based on the lifestyle of whoever we live under. So if they go to work at a certain time, then you have to wake up at a certain time. If they go to bed at a certain time, you have to go to bed according to their timetable. If they eat dinner at a certain time, so all these things are subject to whoever figurative authority that is in your life. You struggle at that stage to take any initiative or handle responsibilities independently. As a baby, your life safety is in direct proportion to whoever is taking care of you. So it is a very challenging phase, but it is a very short phase. Now, the biggest problem is if you extend this phase into your maturehood. You'll find a lot of people that when you look at them from a physical point of view, they look like grown-ups. But if you look at characteristics, if they open their mouth, the way they eat, and you will find this in most cases, people that don't take care of themselves physically. They can't exercise. They don't eat right. They watch television up to the middle of the night. They wake up late going for work. So in years, he looks mature, but in characteristics, he needs supervision. And one of the places where we take grown-up babies that are stuck in man's bodies, babies that have refused to grow, but are living in men's bodies, is prison. Prison is basically a place where people have refused, they become social misfits. They've refused to subject themselves to societal rules and habits. And in return, they need a parent, and that parent becomes the correction facilities. That parent becomes the prison warden. That parent becomes the prison ward. That parent becomes the prison wall. That parent becomes the fenced high wall around the prison. That parent becomes the dogs, the gun. All those things become the new parent that has to enforce their will or the societal will on a child that is refused to grow up but is stuck in a grown man's baby. So it is a very challenging stage. And if you refuse to get out of it when the stage is past, the consequences are always dire. The second phase here is independence. The second phase is independence. Now, this is a self-reliance phase. This is where a person now tries to gain autonomy and take responsibility for their life. And the most common thing most of us do here is, after going to school, the point of going to school is to increase your authority, is to increase your power to be independent, because this means now you are in a position to start taking care of yourself. This simply means that you're self-sufficient. You can feed yourself. You can put a roof over your head. You can get yourself to work without somebody waking you up. You can go to bed without somebody kicking you off the couch to watch television. You can eat and know when to stop without somebody telling you you are eating the wrong foods. You can put on shoes and go for a walk or go for a run. Those are the symptoms of somebody that is independent. Somebody that can go into a working environment, be given duties, and do them without having a policeman standing beside their shoulder, on their shoulder, telling them exactly what to do. So the characteristics of independence here. First, it means maturity varies. Not everybody that is 30, 40, 50 is mature, because maturity, age has to go with the characteristics. Maturity is not the passage of time. Maturity is defined by accumulation of wisdom. It's the way you live your life. It's the way you treat people. It's the way you treat yourself that is going to define if you become a mature person, that we can classify you as being independent, or you've grown in years but you're still stuck in the dependence phase. So characteristics here are self-sufficiency. You're able to meet personal, this is self-sufficiency. Self-sufficiency, which means that you're able to meet personal needs. You're able to meet personal needs. In this stage, you can financially, you can take care of yourself. Emotionally, you can take care of yourself. Physically, you can take care of yourself. Personal responsibility, which means that you start to acknowledge that for every action you take, there is a consequence. There is no choice that does not have a consequence. And you understand at this stage that for every action you have, there is an opposite and much stronger reaction to everything that you do. If you eat wrong, you exactly know what is going to happen. If you live beyond your budget, you exactly know what's going to happen. If you don't pay your rent, you exactly know what's going to happen. If you go to work late, you exactly know what's going to happen. All these things. Now, when you find yourself still doing these things, you're making these choices without thinking of the consequences, and then you refuse to take responsibility, straight away it means we push you down into the dependency phase. The other thing that you get here, one of the characteristics is increased confidence. Building self-belief through accomplishments and personal growth. By investing in yourself, here is improved confidence. You are more confident in yourself. You have the ability to take care of yourself. You have the ability to take care of the loved ones. You have the ability to take care of your environment. You have the ability to invest in yourself in terms of personal growth. Those are the things that define you from an independence point of view. The other thing here is the ability to make informed decisions. You don't behave like a child that does things without thinking. This makes it easier for you to make independent choices based on your personal values and your personal goals. Now, if you take those and you start living your life at that level, it increases your sense of freedom. If you think of the consequences first before you make a choice, then automatically you have more freedom in your life to do as much as you want, because you've already thought of consequences. Consequences drive change. Consequences drive choices. So your sense of freedom is in total proportion to the value, autonomy, and dislikes of external control of dependence. You have to reach a point where you say I have to do the right thing so that other people don't enforce it on me. And for example, here is, you know very well, if you go through a traffic light, chances are that you're going to kill someone, which you're going to end up in jail. Somebody will kill you. It's going to cut your life short. You might be caught by a traffic camera, which means you're going to go to the magistrate court and you're going to be fined. So any decision that you make, you think of what will happen. There is always the light and the dark side of it. The other thing that you're working on here is your identity. This is where you start knowing who you are. This is an age and era of self-discovery. This is a time when you start investing and knowing what kind of career do you think makes you happy and can make it easier for you to live your life. This is a time when you start now chasing and focusing more on your personal ambitions, because in the other stage, the dependent stage, you're doing things to please those people that provide for your life. But like any other phase, it comes with its own set of challenges. And the biggest challenge in this is you might refuse help from others. Most men, we've been brought up to think that you have to be a lone wolf for you to survive. And what that does is you keep your problems to yourself, you keep your struggles to yourself, and most things that we go through as men, we're not the first ones. There's so many people in our lives that we know, people that are older than us, people that have had bigger, more, better experiences than us, that have solutions and answers to the problems that we're going through. And by not sharing with them, because we think we'll be seen as weak, because stoicism here, we're being told that we shouldn't express, boys don't cry. That challenge isolates us and we start dying, not because the baggage is heavy, but because we're carrying it long and we are carrying it the wrong way. The other biggest challenge at this phase is isolation. Sometimes we don't understand that there has to be a very fine line between weakness and strength. Any strength without weakness is a weakness, and any weakness without strength is a weakness. Now we need to learn to balance these things. We need to learn when to be weak, and we need to learn when to be strong. Because you can't be strong all the time. You can't be weak all the time. There is a very fine line, and this is a challenge for most of us men that struggle with. You want to be a lion 24/7, forgetting that there is time for you to be a lamb. You need to know the time to be a lamb and the time to be a lion. The other biggest challenge during the independence phase for us is balancing independence and collaboration. You want to be, it's very easy to become a me person because we live in a me culture. But you forget that collaboration is the key to progress. But if you think that because I'm strong enough, I have to do everything by myself, then it cuts down how much you can do. The third phase here, our independence phase, brings us up to here, because with independence now we have the ability to see how wide we can, because now our potential opportunities are open. We're starting to grow into ourselves. This is in your late 30s, in your 40s. You're starting to forget about everybody else. But now there is a big problem here. If you come here and you stay in this for the rest of your life in your 50s, 60s, 70s, it creates another problem. Now I need to bring you, as you get to the pinnacle, the height of your life here as independence, because your life won't get higher than this. We get into what I call interdependence, what we call interdependence phase here. The interdependence phase is where all of a sudden you realize how connected we are as a human race. This is the connected phase. This is where, as individuals, we understand the power of collaboration and mutual reliance while maintaining our personal independence. The characteristics of interdependence here is legacy. This is where, for the first time now, we start doing things because we know we're not in this world forever. This is a time and era where you realize that you have more yesterdays than tomorrows. This is a time where you start to learn how to balance relationships. This is where you understand that healthy relationships are built on give and take. You can be very arrogant in the independence phase where you think, this is my world, I'm the king, I'm Mufasa, I rule in my kingdom. Here you realize the power of collaboration. Here you realize all of a sudden that teamwork is the easiest way for you to be able to get as much as you want and have an impact. This is where you realize that this is a stage for you. If you look at this, we always look at this as a platform. And the difference between a platform and a stage is, a platform is for performance. Stage is for impact. You realize now, my time in this world is limited. What can I do to add value? You don't want to become an intergenerational thief. So the characteristics here will be your emotional intelligence. You can communicate your needs. You can empathize with others, and you can resolve conflicts effectively without being emotional. The other biggest quality or characteristics here is mutual growth. You look for partnership. You want shared success and shared experiences, shared growth, personal, professional, and spiritual. You start choosing people based on what your purpose is, not on likes. You realize that interests do not keep people together, but only purpose does, because interest changes with time. In your independence here, you might be attracted to people. You might bring in friends. You might hang out with people because you have the same interests. But the biggest characteristics of interdependence here is humility. Nothing humbles a human being more than age. Nothing humbles you to understand that whatever it is inside, you have to pass it on to others. You realize that there is nothing in this world that was created to eat its own fruits. You'll never see a tree eat its own fruits. You'll never see a cow drink its own milk. We're the only species in the world that try to eat the fruits in us. Any good in you is for the betterment of others. And this is where our eyes get open when it comes to the dependence phase. And all of a sudden we realize we are here to contribute to society. Everything we've accumulated, wealth-wise, wisdom, health, is not for us. We start focusing and shifting our focus from us, from self to others. We start to emphasize on leaving a legacy or making meaningful impact. We start collaborating, choosing collaboration over competition. We view others as partners and not as competitors. But this stage also has its own challenges. And the first challenge here is you have to learn to let go of your past. You have to learn to start learning to be vulnerable. You have to start balancing personal independence with shared goals and all those kind of things. Now, there are key insights. If you look at, to sum this up here is, your dependency phase, it teaches us how to trust and the need for care. Because without others, we're nothing. Without others, we're so vulnerable and so open to any kind of attack, be it hunger, be it death, be it injury. When you get into this world, you survive on other people's grace. And that's why God created it like that. Dependency, we have to build our trust. And that's why when you throw a baby up in the air, a baby giggles, not knowing if you're going to catch the baby when they come down or not. That is teaching us trust. Independence phase here fosters confidence and self-reliance. You start believing in yourself to take charge, to start becoming who God created you to be. It's such a process to come from relying on others for everything, to start believing in yourself to provide for you and hopefully start providing for your family. And then we have the interdependence phase, which highlights wisdom and the strength of collective effort. You become the to-go-to person. You become the people that people come to for advice. You become the person that people can trust you with their ear. You become the person that people, when they see you, you bring calmness in a sea of turbulence. In a stormy night, your presence, your voice, you just being there makes the whole difference in the world. Now, the important thing is to make sure that as a man, you do not get stuck in these two phases. For you to get here, there's only two things that will determine if you're going to become or make the right positive transition from independence to dependency. This, you have to make a choice. You have to look at your life and you have to ask yourself, independence. This is where we're living a life based on what they told us here. It's the right life for us. And if you are carrying a rucksack in your life, when you were born, you didn't have a rucksack, and you took a rucksack and you started putting in all these things that people are telling you that how your life is supposed to be. All of a sudden, that rucksack gets very heavy. Because by the time we get to independence, chances are majority of people, your career choice was based on influence either from your parents, either from your teachers, or whoever person you look up to. The kind of woman that you marry, the kind of religion that you have, everything that you've ever chosen here is entirely dependent on the influence that you have. So the biggest difference between independence and interdependency is the choices that you're going to make. You're going to decide now, I'm going to take this rucksack of life off. It's too heavy that I'm stooping forward. I'm going to open it wide open at the top of this mountain. And I'm only going to live in things that I've chosen, the kind of life that I want to create. Whatever life was purely based on pleasing other people, following other people's ideas, other people's dreams, being forced to live them through me, you leave those aside. And when you come here, it gives you two choices. You're either going to become a better or a better person. As you get into the twilight of your years, you want to be a better person. And a better person is a person that has made choices to live a life of their dream. And that simply means you realize that your job, life is a relay. And our job is to pass the relay on to the next person. The next person, in most cases, will always be a young person. Which of these do you resonate with? Where are you in this phase of manhood? Are you at dependency, independency, or interdependency? I'll be glad to know what your thoughts are. Right now, it is up to you to share with me in the comment section, and I will get back to you. Take care. God bless you, and catch you soon.